An invading king stood in the desert with 50,000 armed soldiers at his back. Standing in his way was a single solitary man holding a piece of wood. This is a map of ancient Egypt and the Sinai Peninsula. In the year 1680 BC, a massive foreign force was marching across this exact terrain, aiming to conquer Alexandria and claim the entire region for themselves. At the head of this force was King Antiochus IV. His military advantage was overwhelming. He commanded a heavily armored, combat-tested war machine designed to crush any local resistance through sheer physical force. Rome sent an envoy to stop him. His name was Popilius Laenas. He was an old man. He wore a simple toga, he carried no weapons, and he arrived without a single soldier to back him up. On paper, the math is entirely one-sided. 50,000 swords should dictate the terms to one unarmed man. But in this moment, the physical weight of an entire army would be tested against the internal resolve of a single diplomat. Popilius handed the king a tablet containing a simple, unbending demand from the Roman Senate: withdraw your armies immediately. Antiochus read the demand and looked to diffuse the tension. The king said he would consult his advisors, promising to deliver his answer later. It is a textbook delay tactic. When humans are outnumbered and feel control slipping away, biology usually takes over. The heart rate spikes. We start speaking faster, breaking eye contact, or attempting to argue our way back to safety. The Roman didn't blink. He didn't shout. He exhibited complete physical stillness and unwavering composure in the face of a massive army. By remaining silent, Popilius completely ignored the king's attempt to buy time. He refused to acknowledge the stall tactic, keeping the immense pressure squarely on Antiochus. Dominance in a high-stakes scenario rarely begins with a threat. It begins by completely rejecting the opponent's timeline and forcing them to operate on yours. Still maintaining eye contact, the old man reached out with his wooden stick. In a deliberate, unhurried motion, he lowered the tip to the dirt. He dragged the wood through the sand, maintaining an unbroken motion until he had drawn a closed loop entirely around the king's feet. Before the king could take a single step backward, the Roman whispered his ultimatum: "Give me your answer before you step out of this circle." Desperate negotiators will shout to manufacture authority. A calm, quiet whisper delivered under extreme pressure carries far more psychological weight. King Antiochus looked around at his 50,000 equipped men. Then he looked down at the shallow line drawn in the dust. He submitted to the Roman demands on the spot. There were no walls holding the king in place. He surrendered because he was caught in a psychological trap that paralyzed his ability to act. To understand how one man neutralizes an army, we have to examine the exact mechanics of that boundary. Antiochus brought physical force into the desert. Popilius brought strategic authority. The king wanted to debate geopolitics, logistics, and troop movements. By drawing the circle, Popilius stripped away all of those sprawling variables. He reduced the entire conflict to a single, binary choice: yes or no, right now. The boundary weaponized the present moment. By telling the king he needed an answer before his foot crossed the line, he removed the future as a negotiation option. Stepping out of the circle without agreeing meant the king was personally declaring war on the entire Roman Republic. The old man forced Antiochus to bear the full, immediate weight of that decision. A true boundary is never a physical barrier or a set of rules. It is the immediate, non-negotiable enforcement of a consequence. Today, most people claim to set boundaries in their professional and personal lives, but in reality, they draw lines they are completely unwilling to enforce. When you state a consequence and the opposition steps over your line, and you respond by simply drawing a new line further back, you haven't set a boundary, you have exposed a bluff. Think about the high-pressure moments in your own life. When you are outnumbered, when the room demands you compromise your terms, do you hold your ground or do you step backward? Authority is not granted by the resources you control or the leverage you hold on paper. It is earned entirely by the conviction behind the boundaries you set.